Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking cold weather moisturizers. This is definitely the part of my skincare routine that has to change as the temperatures go down. I need a moisturizer that is going to be nourishing, rich, and protective for my skin in cold weather. And P.S., I live in Wisconsin. I know a little bit about cold weather. So today I've rounded out 5 very rich, very nourishing moisturizers that I think perform beautifully in cold weather. If you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's dive into these moisturizers. First up, Purito Dermide Relief Barrier Moisturizer. Now, I think this is great for combination skin, and it's skin that leans a little bit more on the dry side. And this formula is particularly good if your skin barrier feels a little bit weak in winter or cold weather. Ingredient highlights include 5 different types of ceramides. We also have cholesterol and fatty acid content. And that's exactly why I said this moisturizer is great if your skin barrier feels a little bit weak in the winter. Mine definitely can. There's a multitude of factors that can go into your skin barrier feeling a little bit more tested by the weather. Sometimes it's because it's really cold and dry and windy outside, and other times it can be because, inside we like to keep it nice and warm to stay comfortable, and that heating can actually dry out the air, which can induce transepidermal water loss, and that is something that is a symptom of a weak moisture barrier. And ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids, as I'm always saying, are really the 3 best ingredients to address strengthening or repairing your moisture barrier. Now, other ingredients include shea butter, macadamia, and meadow foam seed oil. So we definitely have some rich emollient content at play here. Now, I do want to quickly note that there is no niacinamide here in this moisturizer. So I really like the texture of this because it is a cream texture, but it's a little bit more fluffy. It's not quite as dense. It's not like full on buttery. And so it actually has this really nice spreadability to it. It feels really breathable, but it actually dives deep into the skin with moisture. It feels very nourishing, very skin softening, like your skin is going to feel quite soft and supple at the top. It makes your skin feel really silky, but it does all the moisturization inside. And what I mean by that is it is protective, it is nourishing, but it's not leaving like a layer of moisturizer on top that feels greasy, like you can almost wipe it away. It's definitely not shiny at the top either. It just has really great absorbency into the skin. It feels medium weight, but on the lighter side of medium. I did order everything in this video from the more fluffier, lighter cream textures to the more dense, buttery, thick textures. So we're starting it off with this one. This one's definitely a little bit more airy, a little bit more breathable, while being medium on the lighter side of that. And I think that this would actually function quite well if you do have oily skin, but you look maybe for like a nighttime moisturizer, something that's a little bit more restorative, protective, something that's a little bit more repairing for your skin. You don't want to wear something really heavy during the daytime because that might trigger a little bit more oil for you or feel a little heavy. But if you like something a bit more nourishing at nighttime, like this would be the one I would recommend that you slot into your nighttime routine, not just on texture alone, but because it has the restorative ingredients for your skin barrier. And I really think that that's the key to success with cold weather skincare, whether you're talking moisturizer, serums, or what have you. Keeping your eye on your skin barrier is going to ensure that your skin really transitions through the colder weather with grace and ease, right? Always keep your eye on your skin barrier. It will pay you back with healthy, glowy skin. Skinfix Barrier Plus Triple Lipid Peptide Cream. Now, if you have a combination skin type that leans more on the dry side, or if you have classically dry skin, this may be a good moisturizer for you to consider. If you do have dehydration with either one of those skin types, I think this is probably not the best moisturizer for you, and I'll expand on that in just a moment. Let's look at the ingredients list here. Now, you will notice that there is some ceramide content in here. There's 3 different types, but what you're not really seeing on the ingredients list is actually Skinfix's patented L22 lipid mixture. So it's mostly made up of the jojoba oil and macadamia seed oil esters. And basically what L22 is it's a patented skin identical lipid mixture, essentially. And so it mimics the lipids that are within our skin. Now, lipids are an important part that make up the skin barrier. So this is offering not only a lot of moisture to the skin, the L22 mixture, but it's also offering barrier healing and barrier strengthening. And the studies do show that this mixture actually works better when it's in combination with ceramide content. And so that's exactly what we have going on here. So this is an interesting texture because it is very buttery. It's very rich, but it's not thick. This is like if you whipped butter, kind of gets fluffy. That's how this feels. And as you spread this onto your skin, it straight up melts into your skin. It's very a luxurious type of texture, and I really can't emphasize enough, you really feel the oil content here. You feel that nourishing skin softening oil melting into your skin in this airy, fluffy, buttery texture. Very, very moisturizing. If you have dry, flaky skin, this will really soothe that very nicely. And because of the barrier strengthening lipids in here, it can be quite soothing to the skin as well. It does not feel occlusive though. So occlusivity is that feeling of something really hugging everything in, creating a little bit of a protective layer on top of your skin. And this is why I feel like this cream may not be the best for those who have dehydration, because that quality in a moisturizer, a little bit of occlusivity, I'm not talking straight up Vaseline on your skin, but just a little bit of that hug it in barrier-like quality actually helps to resist the dehydration process. It actually helps to resist the hydration deep within your skin, escaping through the top layers of your skin, because we have a barrier there that's helping to hug it in. And so that's why I say it may not be the best performing moisturizer for that particular skin condition. But if your skin is very dry, if it's very flaky, if it needs softening, if it needs a lot of richness and moisture, this is definitely a good one. And when my dehydration is not so bad, but my dryness is, I love using this cream. Illiyoon Ceramide 8.0 Concentrate Cream. Now, if you have a combination skin type that leans a little bit drier, if you have a dry skin type, and if you have dehydration, this would be a good cream for you to consider. So let's look into the ingredients. You may notice Ceramide NP towards the bottom of the list, and you may be a little bit disappointed in something that calls itself a ceramide cream to have a ceramide content that appears to be on the lower side. But there's actually a deeper story happening with the ingredients list. Yes, they are using the recognizable ceramide NP, but there's additional ceramide content coming from an ingredient that's trade named Ceramide PC104. I'm going to put the inky name right here on the screen because I don't want to pronounce it. So basically what this is, it is a lab-made ceramide. And so we do have a lot more ceramide content here than it would first appear just sort of glancing at the ingredients list. Now we also have cholesterol, as I've mentioned, is an important lipid for skin barrier health. It actually makes up about 25% of your skin barrier, ceramides being 50% of the skin barrier. And we also have phytosphingosine, which is a really interesting precursor to ceramide. So this is another lipid that helps to strengthen the skin barrier overall. And then we do have some nourishing oil content here in the form of soybean and canola oil. Now this cream also contains dimethicone. Now dimethicone is a silicone-based ingredient that can actually create that sort of like hug it in occlusive quality to moisturizers. And so as I was saying, Skinfix doesn't really have a lot of occlusivity, and so it may not be the best for those folks who are suffering with transepidermal water loss and dehydration symptoms on their skin. This Illiyoon cream, because of the dimethicone, because of the barrier supportive ingredients, actually is ideal for those suffering with dehydration and looking for a moisturizer to help with those symptoms. It all comes together in this really beautiful, solidly medium weight cream. This was recently reformulated in the last couple of years, and I do believe that it has become more rich and more nourishing, but I do still feel that it maintains its medium weight quality on the skin. It definitely feels very rich, nourishing, buttery, super moisturizing. It's another cream that really does a lot of the moisturization deep within the skin. This isn't just leaving a greasy layer on top of your skin, it's really getting down into there. And I think it's the beautiful lipid content, right? So it really relieves the skin at a deeper level, creates a little bit of an occlusive layer that's not, again, like a Vaseline layer. It is still breathable in my opinion. It's not overwhelming. It's not like cutting off your skin, right? Where it's to the point where, while we know skin does not breathe, sometimes it feels like it can't breathe, right? I think that this is a very breathable type of moisturizer while offering a lot of nourishment, richness, and protectiveness for the skin. Now, you know, I've been talking about this cream straight up since 2019. It's been a long time favorite, and I've actually stuck with it through the reformulation, and it is something that I really like to use in the cold weather. It just really does exactly what my combination, very dry leaning and cold weather skin needs. And I do suffer with dehydration as well. And so this is calming, soothing, comforting, protective, everything I want without being too heavy and pore clogging for my skin. Pyunkang Black Tea Enriched Cream. Now this is going to be best for skin types that are definitely more on the dry side, because this is a very rich and buttery cream. And I think that this may be a good option for folks who are looking for a moisturizer with a little bit more than just barrier care. Maybe you're looking for some more antioxidants, maybe some more of those beautiful Korean extracts. This all actually comes together in the ingredients list here for a really beautiful, well-aging K-Beauty moisturizer that's very nourishing for the skin. So looking at the ingredients list, there's a lot to unpack here, but let's try to do it as quickly as we can. We do have 3 forms of ceramides. We have cholesterol and fatty acids. Again, barrier care, right? They're also stepping up the nourishment and moisture with shea butter and macadamia seed oil. And we do have some humectant ingredients in here, things that bring hydration or a water content to the skin. Glycerin, panthenol, sodium hyaluronate, and they're also using some niacinamide. Now, niacinamide can be a goodie for your skin barrier health, but it also can bring some brightness to the skin as well. We do have ginseng, centella, which are really beautiful extracts for calming inflammation, and for actually bringing like a nice brightness and a healthy glow to the skin and reducing redness. Ginseng in particular is linked to skin elasticity. Now, we do have some peptide content in here in the form of acetylhexapeptide 8. Now, this is that Botox peptide, right? The arginine. And now this is a peptide that actually helps to smooth and plump the skin. The texture is like the Skinfix moisturizer, but thicker, more buttery, more nourishing, just more. So very, very buttery, very thick but smooth at the same time. And it really, as you spread this across your skin, it's going to melt into your skin, and it's going to really dive deep with a lot of moisture, and it's going to feel medium to, we're kind of moving into slightly more medium heavier kind of a feel. Like I said, she's thick, you know, so it's really very protective type of moisture. It's diving deep, but then it's also really hugging it in at the end. And it feels really good, especially like I said before, if you have a lot of dryness on your skin, this is really going to soothe those dry areas. It's going to soften the skin. It's going to help with the flaky skin, but it's also going to help with dehydration as well, just because of the quality of the weight and the way that it hugs everything in and the way all those moisture ingredients come together. It feels a lot more protective on the skin. Now, I've used this for a few winters now. I think I've been into this cream for at least 2 years now, and I really do enjoy it. It's very rich. It's very nourishing. It's something that with combination skin that fluctuates with the season, I personally would not use this moisturizer in the summertime. Where some of the other ones I might pick up in the summer, probably not, but I might, especially if I'm dealing with some dehydration or some skin dryness, right? But as the temperatures get colder and my skin gets a lot more dry, I really appreciate this type of texture. Probably too buttery in the summertime for me, but just perfect in the winter time for me. Love, love, love the way it melts into my skin. It feels really great. La Roche-Posay Lipikar AP Plus M Triple Repair Moisturizer. Now this is great for those who have a classically dry skin type, and this is also good if you do suffer with dehydration, and this is also a good moisturizer if you're dealing with some sensitivity due to the cold weather. Ingredients: shea butter. I think there's a high quantity of shea butter in this moisturizer because shea butter is one of those ingredients that brings a lot of moisture. It definitely brings a butteriness, right? A silkiness. And I do feel like this is an ingredient that tends to bring a weight to it in a formula, depending on how it's been utilized in the formula. You can use a little bit of shea butter and get something really silky and like whipped and airy, and you can use a good amount of shea butter and get something that is a little bit more dense, a little bit heavier wearing on the skin, depending on what you want to achieve, right, and how much moisture you want to bring to your formula. Like I'm saying, shea butter is here. I just think that they're using a good amount of it because that's what I'm feeling in the texture. They've also used Ceramide NP and niacinamide to help with the skin barrier, and they're also using thermal water, which is really a signature of La Roche-Posay products. Is it just fancy French water? Kind of. However, this fancy French thermal water does have some trace vitamins and minerals and different content within it that actually helps to strengthen the skin microbiome. Now, the skin microbiome, you may have heard of this, right? It actually does work in tandem with your skin's moisture barrier. Both are actually defensive mechanisms that protect the skin and really do contribute to the overall health of our skin. All of these ingredients are coming together to really address some of the major and common concerns that you can have during the winter time. They're also using dimethicone, and as we've already covered, that's a really great occlusive ingredient to create that protective barrier to help keep all the moisture and the hydration and all your skincare here, right? And it's not evaporating into that dry winter air or in that inside heated air. And finally, I just want to highlight the rapeseed oil. So we do have oil content here, so it is going to be a very nourishing, rich type of texture. But this particular oil, the fatty acid profile of this oil, makes it a very good match for dry skin because it has a high content of omega-9 fatty acid, which is really something that particularly benefits, like I said, very dry, very classically dry skin types. It may not be appropriate if you do suffer with acne-prone skin, which can happen on oily skin types or dry skin types. Like, let's not fall into stereotypes about oil and acne, right? You can definitely have acne-prone skin and be dry. So I do want to point that out. But if you're really not super acne-prone and you're really looking to address your dry skin, look for oils that have a high omega-9 fatty acid content. So the texture is real thick. This is the thickest cream in the video, and you can definitely see that it has a heftiness to it. And as you spread this across your skin, you're going to feel the richness and the oil content and the shea, the butteriness of it in the cream. It's definitely a very nourishing, very rich, very moisturizing cream. But the dimethicone here really does create a cream that really dives into the skin with all that richness and moisture. And then the dimethicone just kind of like really seals everything in place, really smooths everything over, if you will, and creates that protective barrier truly on top of the skin. I would say that this is a heavy cream. I wouldn't even call it medium or medium heavy. This definitely feels a bit more heavy, a little bit more weighty on the skin, and it is something that I don't particularly feel to be greasy, but it does have a bit more of a satin finish to it, and it's extremely nourishing. If you are, as I mentioned, acne prone, this will probably feel a bit pore clogging for you. I am prone to clogged pores. I'm not 100% acne prone, but I can definitely get those under the skin bumps and texture if things are a little bit too rich. And that sometimes happens for me when I use this cream on my face. Like, it's just a little bit too rich for me. But as I mentioned, I have combination skin that fluctuates. And in the dead of winter in Wisconsin, my skin can sometimes behave almost classically dry. That's when I start to use this on my face. It's a very narrow period of time, but when my skin needs the most relief from dryness, from irritation, from itchiness, from all those winter symptoms on my skin, this really soothes it. It really takes down, as I mentioned earlier, sensitivity, that raw itchy feeling that you can sometimes get when your skin is just so dry, when it's so dehydrated. It really replenishes my skin. It's very protective for my skin. It's very restorative, truly, for my skin. It's just really thick. So it may not be for everybody. body. A secondary use for this one is it actually makes a fantastic body cream. So if you have a moisturizer that's your fave for cold weather that I didn't mention, let us know in the comment box below. And if you enjoyed this video and this lineup of products, please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Come join our skincare community. I love you so much. I really do hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world, even if it's not cold where you live right now. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so glad that you are here with me today. I can't wait to talk to you in the next video. Bye.